Balls.
Yeah, no, it is.
Why'd you guys mute up?
When you gonna come on Stopgap? The hell is that?
Yeah, no, it is fine and prominent. That's how my gut floor is doing. Just don't want my gut floor doing this. I want it to thrive.
Balls. Subtle. Balls. Subtle. Good. Balls.
Balls.
Okay there, Graham.
Stay woke, kids. Balls.
What does it say? It looks like a razor. Electric razor. Balls. Subtle.
It's all the best parts of the Breeze 1, the Breeze 2, and the Sprite put together.
Balls.
So you like it more than the Sprite then, because you've moved from nose hair trimmer to electric razor.
Balls.
Honestly, they're probably the two best. They're probably two of the best, like, coil pod systems on the market.
Hey guys, welcome to Stopgap. It's week of October 4th. The Supreme Court's falling apart. Let's fucking do the show. Welcome everybody. Pretty Matthew got some new shit. I got some new shit. Let's talk about some new shit.
New shit, new shoes.
I got the fucking Lost Vapor Ryan.
How is it?
Balls.
I like it. Subtle. It's very subtle.
I wish you could change the. I wish you could change the drip tip.
Yeah, me too, but it's still like I like the size of it. I really like the styling of it. The styling is really nice.
Mm-hmm. How's the performance?
On the the 0.25 coil is actually better than the 0.5, even at this low of a wattage. I think they just used such a low amount of wire that amount of power is able to kick the 0.25, and because it's low resistance, it gets hotter. I don't know what the fuck's going on with it, but it works better. But I'm pleasantly surprised, I guess you could say.
I mean, Lost Vape makes.
That's
Lost-
the one
Lost-
that Dwayne was talking about, right?
Yeah, that's the one. I mean, Lost Vape has completely locked down like that mid-tier market.
They really have.
Nobody's making the quality of the device at the price point that they are with the variety that they have. Like I'll always say, like Aspire makes, as far as like mass production stuff, like Aspire makes fantastic quality, but their stuff doesn't look as good as like Lost Vape actually has like that premium look and feel to it.
They really do, like that.
For like
That's
the same price, for like the same price as Aspire stuff. Like you can get
yeah.
you can get whatever the replacement for whatever the Therion Squonk replacement is. I forget what the name of it is. But you can get one of those for like the same price as the Aspire FeedLink. And the FeedLink is a really nice MOSFET, single 18650 Squonk, but it doesn't look as good as the Lost Vape, and the Lost Vape comes with a DNA chip.
Dude, I really like their designer. Whoever the fuck their designer is has that shit right. Like, don't make it gaudy. You can make it like eye-catching, but not eye-catching from across the fucking room.
Can you explain the thing that Dwayne was talking about, the replay or whatever? Do you understand that?
Yeah. So like what the manual tells you is once you get when you're vaping and you get a hit that you're like, that was a good fucking hit. You just hold the little setting button for 3 seconds, and it takes exactly what the board did for that hit, like exactly how much power it started out with, how much it pushed through, and then like how it tapered off, and does that for the rest of the time that the replay function is on.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense on why that's cool. I wasn't understanding it at all.
So
but-
so with the stainless steel coils, since I'm guessing they're using temperature control in this.
They'd have to be
for the replay, yeah. So instead of having to lock the resistance, it'll. I don't know how the fuck it does it. Honestly.
I think that's what the replays. I think that's what the replay is doing, is locking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably taking a reading of what the board did on the last trigger and then just replicating it exactly. Right.
Because I mean, without because you can change your power settings somewhat, right?
Yeah, it's got 3 settings, so you got the little LED. So like that's medium. Oh wait, sorry, replay's on. I'm not turning it off to show you guys how to fucking change.
Yeah, but it has a couple power settings. Yeah, so that has to be what it's doing, is the doing a resistance lock and then locking in like your voltage and your wattage.
Yeah.
And your
And
temperature.
then doing the power, the exact power. It has that whatever that.
Yeah. My guess is that it's recording, like all temperature control devices do. It records the resistance as you're vaping, and it sets that as the bar graph that the graph that they use for temperature control, and it sets that as the replay. So it makes sure that at each point in that vape, like it's hitting those resistances. That'd be my guess, because otherwise it'd just be temperature control.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, it's just applying the right voltages to hit those again without having the resistance spike because it goes dry.
Right.
How's the battery life? Because that doesn't have. What size is the battery?
900.
That's not terrible.
No, apparently the tank lasts 450 puffs, and the battery will last 400, is what they say.
They always undersell the tanks.
Yeah.
It depends on what there's a lot of variables with liquid and everything, but I always get more fills out of tanks than they say that you will.
Yeah, I mean the same with the air. The air says like 2 refills, and you're supposed to toss the tank. But
I got what for the air.
Speaking of pods, do you guys see that Juul is suing everybody?
I'm surprised it took them that long. Oh, but here, for the air.
The fuck is that?
These are aftermarket
Soren pods
for the Soren Air.
Oh shit, that's
with
sick.
like a different. It has like a contoured mouthpiece. You can't really see it.
I see that.
But then it has a different wicking system.
I feel like silica wicks would work really well for the air.
It looks like it's still cotton, but they've moved it way over. It has like a different airflow. Yeah, so I just got these. I haven't tried them yet. I just got them yesterday, and my air is not in rotation this week. I'm trying to not have I'm trying to not have a ton of stuff in rotation, because then stuff ends up just like sitting in tanks or like sitting in pods because it doesn't get vaped up. So this is whenever the coil goes out on the new Nautilus AIO, then I'll switch to these and give these a try. But these are pretty dope. They look like they're pretty dope. So I have pretty high hopes for them. They get they're getting good reviews so far.
So the only thing I've ever tried is the Mi Pod, and I did it at 50 megs, whatever.
Too much.
Yeah, like because I usually am like at 1 or 0, and I went to 50 and on the Mi Pod, and I fucking hated it. And should I retry it?
Yeah, the Mi Pod needs, in my, and I vape pretty high nicotine, both free. I vape pretty high nicotine, both freebase and salt. And the Mi Pod for me, I have to use at like 20 milligrams salt because of how much airflow and how much power it has.
Where do you guys buy your salts?
I have my chemist make mine. I've used I used Nudes when they first came out, and they were lacking.
Are you playing Halloween music?
I'm not.
The fuck is going on? Oh my god, no, it's Nicotine River. I fucking opened their website and it's and then like there's like wind and rain going on in the background. What the fuck, Nicotine River?
Yeah, but Nude was pretty lacking because they weren't doing any they weren't using benzoic acid in their process. So that didn't, you know, they were the first ones to, I think they were probably the first ones to market with salt available. Yeah. So, you know, obviously I hollered, and I like Jake. I talked to Jake, I don't know, a couple times a year maybe. So I hollered at Jake and I tried them all out. And at the time I was like, yeah, it's, you know, it's cool. And then once I got my hands on some using benzoic acid in the process, I was like, that's the difference. Because I wasn't getting that Juul satisfaction.
Jake's a cool dude, but fuck, does he need to get some consistency with that fucking company? Like I'll order and it'll be like 4 days, and someone else in my town will order and it'll be 14 days.
Yeah, and there's been some issues too where we tried to collaborate on some stuff, and being able to get like consistent follow through is difficult. And that was on a level, it wasn't for us to buy nicotine. We wanted to like collaborate like on a project involving like regulatory stuff and everything, and just to be able to get like consistent follow-up. Never.
What do you mean, baby? That's how the business works nowadays. What you talking about?
So,
this millennial business.
But like I hung out with him at we hung out at a ECC one year, and then we, you know, like I said, we talk on the phone, and he's a really good guy. His freebase nicotine, I've never had an issue with it. I always test my stuff whenever it comes in, and I'd never had an issue with consistency. Although I saw that obviously other people did, as much as they tried to downplay it or whatever. Like that was a serious issue. I've never had those issues personally. But yeah, the salt without the benzoic acid just doesn't really do it.
What does it do? What does the benzoic acid do? Kind of like what?
Well, this whole salt process is to take freebase, and then you add particular acids. You add acids to it to then turn your freebase nicotine, right? So base plus acid equals salt. But depending on what acid you use, you get different salts. You get different types of salts. So using the benzoic gives you a particular type of nicotine salt that seems to be, I don't know what it is like physiologically, but that seems to be the one that like hits the switch for people, that makes you get like closer to that that cigarette type of satisfaction, that type of cigarette type nicotine fix. But you can use all kinds of different acids for that. You can, like, when people were first starting with it, that was one of the whole things, was people trying to figure out, you know, do you use citric, do you use malic, do you use lactic, do you know, all these different luvulinic, like all these different acids that people were using to try to figure out the right one. And that's how you end up with those different blends, like the smooth and the hit and the signature, whatever everybody's calling it. It depends on which blend of acid and what percentage of acids that they're using.
Okay.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I
keep saying freebase, and someone kept waking up.
I'm all out of those salts you sent me, so I need to order some.
Who? For me?
Yeah.
I'll send you some more.
Sick. Got the fucking hookup. No, but yeah, because so
I have a half gallon sitting on my mixing table.
I won't be here for next week's show or the 5 shows after that.
Or the 5 shows after that.
Yes. So
okay, Wayne.
Won't be here for the 11th, 18th, 25th, 1st, 8th. I might be there for the 15th. That one's up in the air.
What the fuck are we gonna do?
I don't know. I know that I'm gonna have Jerry run the show. Probably host it, him or Concrete.
It's just gonna be us 3.
Yeah. But
well, you know what? It'd actually be good practice for Vegas.
Yeah.
Staring at each other? Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys are gonna have to learn how to fly without me, kind of like you will at Vegas.
Yeah, that's actually it. Actually, is good practice, because we don't want to fuck everything up in Vegas. Terrible.
No. I said I'm not
It'd be
going,
fine.
Graham. I said I'm not going.
Yeah. So, well,
Get in a fist fight with Sean Casey.
yeah, that's just what you need. Have his fucking.
Is
his
he really gonna
henchman
do
going?
I don't
Hey,
know.
let go of him. Let him go.
If he is, you guys got to tell me if he wears a size 8 shoe or not.
He does for sure. Little Trump hands.
He seems like the type that wears like a 6.5.
He has like patches on his sleeves,
He
like
can,
in his
he can,
sports
he can
coat.
still go to Kids Foot Locker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's like
yeah,
I imagine
yeah.
him being like 5'10", normal adult size, but then like fucking 6.5 size foot.
Yeah.
It's a wonder that nobody likes or respects us.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. He like gets a lollipop at the dentist.
I get a lollipop at the dentist.
I do too. Well,
there's always the one dude that hangs out. Well, I shouldn't say because not everybody has like the same circle of friends, but like there's always a dude that hung out that always had like he always had like, I used to be a semi like soul collector. Like I used to be into shoes, like I was somewhat into shoes, but there's one dude like he always had like the fresh like the foam posits or the Jordans, and like them shits are expensive, especially like limited release stuff and everything. And like he always had shit, and like he was a smaller dude, but then one day I realized, and I asked him like he could still wear kid sizes, so he was able to get his shit at Kids Foot Locker, so they were like less than half the price.
Oh fuck, he got
So,
the
like,
hookup.
So like foams are like $225, and he's getting them for like $100, and I was just like, all right,
That's
cool,
unfair.
yeah, I was like, well, fuck you then. He's a little scrappy dude though, so it was fine.
But yeah, the census on the Orion, I'd say get it. It's nice.
I'm waiting for him to come back and stock through my wholesale, through like one of our wholesale companies, and I'm gonna grab one.
Yeah, I had to get it from eSiggity, which
Maybe-
I've never ordered from.
Maybe let me know when that happens, because I'm peaked. My interest has been peaked. That's definitely the first pod system, like outside of the Jewel, that I've just been like, I kind of actually want that.
I want
That isn't, like a Soarin' Air,
Jerry,
like cool, $20.
Oh yeah, okay. I was gonna say, I'm letting you know, there's a reason the Soarin' Air popularity has fucking skyrocketed lately.
Oh no, I know. It's just I bought one, but that's definitely like, yeah, I'm gonna try it out for $20. It's not like I actually kind of want this.
The Orion is closer to being almost like a mod than being like a pod system, because it is.
Yeah.
Like I think RRP is like $80 on that, which is a little bit much.
Yeah.
And my problem is like, since I quit buying like expensive like real mods, I started buying pod systems, and like even though they're cheaper, it's still so like I don't buy stuff unless I can get it at like wholesale. So, but I usually end up grabbing about everything that comes out, and yeah, the Orion definitely has had my attention for a while. And I will say the Soarin' Air is much better than the Drop. Like the Drop got everybody got the hype like a year ago when it came out, but the Air is definitely I really feel like the Air is a superior device to the Drop.
I mean, the battery life alone on the Air is so impressive for how small it is. I was blown the fuck away. Like it'll last me a whole day out and about.
Yeah, and then the pod size, it's easy to actually go through. Like it's enough that like a pod will easily get you through like a full day, a couple days, but it's not so big that you never end up draining it all the way down, so you don't have like old juice sitting in. You know how when you end up with like you keep refilling something, but like it never gets all the way empty, and you don't dump it all the way out, so then you end up with this like weird, super thick, like extra dark layer of liquid like mixing in with it. That's why I like the Air, because you actually like vape it all the way and then refill it.
Okay, so Julian De Gracias says in the chat, quick question, how many people test their Nick? If so, how do you go about doing this? You buy a titration kit, and you do you test a small amount of the nicotine with the titration kit. It's sort of an iffy you don't get like an exact number from it. But,
yeah, it's ballpark.
Yeah, but you can ballpark what your nicotine is at.
It's a pH test. You can't test you can't test salt.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can't. Well, you can't test salt through titration.
Yeah.
You have to you actually have to send it to a laboratory to get salt tested.
But My thing is, if I get nicotine and something is wrong with it, and it's not the color, not the smell, that's when I'll titrate it. I'm not titrating every bottle of nicotine I get because it is a process.
If it tastes good and smells good, it's like, sure.
Yeah. I mean, for me, because we do it for production, because we get large quantities, so we just test every barrel when it comes in, and then I'll take a gallon and I'll just test my gallon before I start messing with it, just to make sure that there's nothing weird going on.
So it's Hispanic Heritage Month at work, and someone brought in and set up like a big free Mexican candy stand.
All the piñata.
And
there's some sugar skulls in there.
No, there's some good shit in there. But really, what the fuck is wrong with their candy? Like, why?
Tamarind.
The amount of tamarind, the amount of salt.
Hey, like a little bit of salt is kind of, it's kind of good.
No,
I mean,
a little bit is good. Have you had like what is it? The fucking pelon de pelo?
Yeah,
the
like
fucking, that tastes like fucking Play-Doh. Not to mention, what kind of Herculean gorilla fucking hands do these Mexican children have that they can push it through that fucking and make the hair?
They all got hands like me, man.
Dude, every Mexican friend that I talked to at work, I was like, "What the fuck's wrong with your children?" They're like, "Dude, none of us push it through the top. You twist the bottom and pull it off, and then you just fucking go to town on the chewy bits that are inside." And I'm like, "Why the fuck isn't that on the instructions?" And they're like, "They are." And I'm like, "I don't read Spanish."
You made the connection. You just figured out the whole conspiracy right there.
Yep.
They can push the little Mexican children can push it through their hands.
Bro,
Trump can't.
They got some serious fucking grip strength if they can push that shit through the top of the candy. Because I was sitting there turning red in the face, getting like a fucking millimeter out.
It's so they can grip the chiclets hella tight when you.
And then it wasn't even worth it because it just tasted like fucking Play-Doh because the amount of salt they added.
Some of that stuff is just something that you have to grow up with too. It's like European candy. Like you have to grow up with that amount of salty black licorice to be able to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the other shit's really good. Like they had some watermelon flavored tamarind pulp that was like spicy, salty watermelon, and I was like, this is bang.
Mm-hmm.
This is too legit. I saw your comment on Reddit too, like right before the show started.
Yeah. I was just laughing that I saw you on there. I was like, this dude's never on Reddit anymore.
Nah.
Fuck.
I don't know though. Like,
he's Filipino. Never mind. I thought he was like Latin American.
Filipino is Latin.
No, Latin American.
Oh.
Filipino has that Spanish influence. You know, they're colonized by the Spanish and the Japanese. So.
Yeah, but tamarind is like South America.
I know.
It's South. That's.
Yes.
You know what else it is? It's also the taste of A1 steak sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
Ketchup?
No, tamarind.
Tomatoes?
They use banana sauce.
Tamarind.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what's in banana sauce, right?
There's a shit ton of it in A1 steak sauce.
Huh.
That ketchup.
That's that tang.
So it's just ketchup and tamarind?
No,
and raisins.
it's Worcestershire sauce and tamarind.
Yeah,
that's A1 steak sauce.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of the traditional
and raisins
sauces.
Dude, I could shotgun a bottle of Worcestershire sauce.
So good.
This shit's so good.
Have you ever gotten a fish sauce?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No, I haven't.
Filipinos love
it. Smells
fish
terrible,
sauce.
but God, it's so good when you cook
Fish sauce is Worcestershire sauce's large angry brother.
Yeah. But the thing with fish sauce is like 1 tablespoon good, 2 tablespoons better, 3 tablespoons you just ruined everything. It's you got to be careful with the fish sauce.
Yo, did y'all know that Worcestershire sauce has fucking ground up anchovy in it? I didn't know that until I read it, and I'm like, that's why you refrigerate this shit when you open it.
So does real Caesar dressing, like Kyle said.
Oh yeah.
Like, never underestimate the power of anchovies. They're umami as fuck.
They're so good.
Or the power of white vinegar. It's the difference between a good mac sauce and a terrible mac sauce.
Umami's new, right? Like that wasn't around when.
Okay, so umami's been around, but people have always called it spicy or salty.
or savory.
Falsely called it salty or savory when it's its
We
own
just didn't-
flavor category.
The Western world didn't have a word. The Western world didn't have a word for it.
Yeah, it's that like savory taste that you get that fires off your brain synapses, and you don't know why you like something, but it tastes deep and warm and delicious.
Yeah.
It's unctuous.
Yeah,
Unctuousness.
It's in a lot of like it's in soy, it's in kombu, which is a type of seaweed. It's in a lot of fish.
Pretty much every fish is
Every
very
oily
umami.
fish, yeah.
Mushrooms.
Bonito
Yeah,
flakes.
mushrooms.
Tomato.
Fucking grind up some bonito flakes. You guys think anchovies good?
Like that's been the hardest thing about switching my diet around is getting back like meatiness. So I'm just desperately trying to cram every single umami thing I can think of into a recipe. It's terrible.
Have you turned to yeast extract yet?
I need to
Some
order some.
Marmite. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to order some. I also need to order some whatever the hell it is they make seitan out of. I always forget exactly what it is.
What
but
the
Get
fuck?
some bonito flakes and some kombu root and just make your own stocks.
Are you trying to eat Satan?
No, it's a meat substitute made of like wheat protein.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's actually pretty tasty if you do it right. There was a vegan like trash food joint. Like it was like a bar, but they served vegan food. And I grew up in Olympia eating some pretty good like seitan like cheesesteaks and stuff like that. Like it's actually pretty legit.
My issue with like meat replacement stuff is normally texture. So what's the texture like on that?
It's good. It's chewy. It's kind of springy. It's the flavor isn't dead on, but it definitely gives you the same kind of textural component.
hey,
Okay.
you know gluten makes your dick fly off, right?
It's okay. I apparently lost that a long time ago. I'm kind of a soy boy cuck.
Okay.
So
Make some fried broccoli.
boy
That shit's
Momo.
delicious.
No, but you want to add some umami to the shit you eat, some meatiness. Buy miso paste.
Yeah, buy yeast extract, buy fish sauce, buy all that shit. Kombu root, bonito flakes. It's all good.
Bro, after like trying miso paste in a recipe, I can't eat regular soy sauce anymore. Like I can't use regular soy sauce on food. It's got to be the fucking tamari soy sauce.
Really?
The shit that's because soy sauce isn't supposed to be 90% salt, right? Soy sauce is the runoff from the fermentation of miso paste.
Like
So
real soy sauce.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be it's supposed to be like slightly alcoholic, but very very umami, not salty, and very fermented tasting.
Yeah, it's still gonna be salty a bit, no matter what you do. But when you eat like or I should say drink like a teaspoon of it, it's gonna taste almost like red wine. It's kind of crazy.
Mm.
Yeah.
I've been also going through a shit ton of better than bouillon, however you say that actual word.
Yes, the cubes or the jar.
The jar, just like taking like big things of the roasted vegetable stuff and just throw it in fucking everything. You know?
Oh man,
dude, I use that shit too. It's so good in grits.
Yeah.
Speaking of bouillon,
I've
it
forgotten
reminded me of
about that.
broth, but I got an instant pot, so I'm so ready to make some broth, and I have so many fucking Parmesan skins.
The instant pot is a very useful kitchen tool. Because I like with wife wanted one, and I was like, because we had a slow cooker and we used the slow cooker, like I would use it, whatever. But I was like, do we need a whole separate whatever? And then it went on. They had like a flash sale on Amazon or something, so we got one. And like since we've got them, like, okay, this thing's pretty fucking good. Like it's super.
I made
useful.
beef burgundy in 45 minutes. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like have you guys never used pressure cookers before the Instant Pot?
No, because I've seen before the Instant Pot, I saw way too many pictures of like lids stuck in the ceiling and like cabinet doors blown off by like old shoddy ass pressure, like your grandma's pressure cooker that somebody didn't latch up properly or whatever. So the Instant Pot is pretty idiot proof, which is a good thing.
Dude, they have pressure fryers now. That's what Chick-fil-A uses.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
What about? Go ahead. Sorry, I just get excited. You know what? You get excited, Rick, about the air fryer.
No, I need
You
one of
wouldn't
those
have
too.
Dude,
No,
the
not
air
air fryer,
fryer's horseshit.
Air
The air
fryer is
fryer
different
is the
from
fruit.
pressure a pressure
Yeah,
fryer.
pressure.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah. Yeah, and it rules.
Air fryer you can open up. A pressure fryer you open up and there's oil on your ceiling suddenly.
But an air fryer is like having a microwave that fries.
No, you're probably
Fucking
going to the hospital if you open up a pressure fryer.
You're fucking up.
I just want Chick-fil-A.
Dude, my all-time favorite like umami sauce hack was definitely there's a Korean sauce called gochujang, which is
gochujang.
Yeah, which is just like these. It's like these red. It's like a red/black bean paste that is sweet and spicy.
It's pepper too, chili.
Yeah, and chili, and it's so good. And they usually thin it out with their own various different mixtures.
Here's a pro tip for you: buy your gochujang, and then just open it up, take the seal off of it, and put it in the back of your fridge for 6 months.
Hey, this girl's out talking to my mom
because it
just let it ferment.
It ferment because it's a fermented product.
Yeah.
So you let it ferment even further, and the flavor just it's so good. It gets dark though. It starts out red, but it gets dark.
Still not my favorite fermented product, but it's up there.
What's your favorite fermented product?
Dude, probably booze,
beer, and chocolate.
Yeah. Did I tell you guys I got into I bought
fermenting chocolate
jars to like do pickling and shit?
No, but that's dope. They're fun.
Yeah, it's good. And I bought like 5 pounds of fucking jalapenos and habaneros the day that I got them. And I was like,
buy a bunch of beets, man. I love pickled beets.
I don't like beets in general.
Not in the pickled beet train, no.
I hate
pickled eggs and pickled pickles.
Oh, and my local tap house has started selling home brewing equipment, like for a decent price too. Like they have like 14 different types of hops and pelletized hops. So I'm gonna be getting into home brewing.
Use your inflatable hot
in the coming year. Yeah. Inflatable hot tub has a hole. I can't.
Oh no, does it?
Yeah, I have. It's had a hole for like 2 months, and I just haven't taken the time to pump it up and fucking spray it down with soap water.
Did you try and fuck the vent?
No.
Do you also have a legit party store by you?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's an oxymoron.
Do I have a what?
The party store is that's a Midwestern.
True.
What do you mean?
I got a really ritzy party store by me, so they have all the beer brewing equipment you could want. So I was just gonna say, if you have something like that, do price checks.
The Midwest, they call them party stores in the Midwest, liquor stores.
Okay. They call them. I was like, Party City sells
like
fucking. I was like, what the fuck? Party cities do you have? Let me.
Actually, I'm surprised.
Yeah,
that's an Ohio thing. I'm surprised you hadn't heard that one.
No,
before.
it was called like state liquor.
Well, what do y'all call the DUI plates?
Oh yeah, you guys got state.
I mean, those are party plates, of course.
Yeah, the party store, party plates.
No, it's called the liquor store. The liquor store.
Yeah, but that's like Ohio, Michigan.
Do they close too? Like at 1:30 or something?
No, they close at 8 or 9.
Oh my god.
Depends. Most of them here too, because that's the state law.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Maryland was from my drinking days. They opened at 7 a.m. and they closed at 2 a.m.
Yep. Same. They go by
many a day that I opened up the lid. I'm waiting out front for the liquor store to open.
Really?
So
Yeah, you know you were an alcoholic if you know when the liquor store opened.
Seriously, buying like a handle of vodka at
12 p.m. on Sunday.
But and not just that, but like when I was still drinking when I was in Florida, so I knew what time and Florida's like everywhere is county by county, but Florida is like very, very different county by county. So I knew because Florida they do beer and wine at the gas station, so I knew which gas stations would start selling beer and wine at what time in the morning, so that way I could go and get a bumper of Mickey's to be able to ward it off until the liquor stores opened.
Big Mouth.
Fuck, I do not miss those days at all. But yeah, trying to but like waiting for standing there waiting for them to unlock the doors at the liquor store is like the worst feeling in the world.
Just like right about like all fucking shaky and ready to shit yourself.
And you for some reason you're still trying to, even though you're like a complete degenerate alcoholic that hasn't showered in who knows how long, but you still like don't want the people working at the liquor store to think that you're like an alcoholic, but it's like
you're that guy that dresses up. He's got the suit jacket on.
But dude, they know, like they know better than I. Like, because I used to buy like a rack. I'd buy like a rack of half pints because I could keep those in my pocket. So I'm sitting there buying like 8 half pints instead of just buying like a fifth.
Dude, there's
complete sense to me.
There's a British skit about that, and it's a guy that goes into he's dressed up and he goes into the gas station or the convenience store, and he's like, hey, I'll just get this, you know what? I'll just get this candy bar and this newspaper. And they're like checking him out, and he's like, you know what? I'm pretty parched, pretty thirsty. What's in that cooler back there? And he's like, oh, this cooler back here. And like the entire time the clerk's just deadpan like, oh, the cooler back here. And he's like, oh, what is this? What is this can of... This 16-ounce can of malt liquor? What is that? They're like, oh, it's an alcoholic beverage. And he's like, oh, I hear it might be even more thirst-parching than normal. And he's like, but I don't have money for both of these. I don't have cash. Put the newspaper back. And he's like, and then I can buy 2 of these. So why don't I just get 2? Oh, you know what? This candy bar... Then I won't put the candy bar back and give me 6 of those. And so he's like, so he buys 6 of them, and they're like, see you next week. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like a guy just goes in to pretend that he's not an alcoholic.
Yes. Well, I mean, I would even like spread it to different liquor stores, so I wasn't going to the same one every morning.
So you're the guy that opens up multiple liquor stores.
It bleeds straight through your pores.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was a complete mess. Like, you can't drink like a pint of Jaeger at 6:45 in the morning and then go to the liquor store and not think nobody thinks you're fucking drunk.
Yeah, you could shower. It doesn't fucking matter. You still
no.
smell
Well,
like
no,
liquor.
I couldn't even get in the shower. Like, that was way too much work. Like, that's like a super alcoholic thing, to like a shower being like too much to do. Like overwhelming fear. I don't know. It was bad.
Yeah,
it was a bad period.
No,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I stopped drinking right after they went over to selling alcohol at the grocery stores out here. And so like one of the things that stuck with me was being at the Safeway at 6 a.m. buying a handle of fucking vodka and just having the checkout girl look at me with like the biggest mix of like pity, fear, and revulsion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because at least at the liquor store, like, they're kind of like trained professionals, because they just deal with people buying booze all day. But like at the grocery store, like, she has no idea. You know what I mean?
And Rick,
some poor high school girl, you know what I mean? She's just trying to save some money to go to college, and then there you are.
There I am, just fucking giant, and exactly what you're talking about. Like, you don't shower, like you don't do all sorts of other shit, like, and it's so bad. So I probably smelled fucking awful even for me. And yeah, it was just like a real fucking low point right there.
Mm-hmm. 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 You can't eat, like, fuck that.
Yeah, no, because you just throw it right the fuck back up. The last drink I ever had was fucking vodka and mango Gatorade, and I threw it up before I went to detox. So yeah, super glamorous shit.
Mine was so I was going to, I was in Florida, and somebody came and pulled me out of that apartment, and they put me on a plane and sent me to Maryland, and I had to stay in a hotel the first night, and then they drove me to rehab, and we stopped to get something to eat, and I had 4 fingers of tequila, in a water glass,
yeah.
and then walked into rehab. Yeah, and like I blew like a 2. And I was like walking and talking and like cracking jokes, and they were debating whether or not they were going to have to send me to the hospital for like medical detox, or if they was going to be able to just let me shake myself to sobriety in a room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the shake myself to sobriety in a room. I was like, I can't even get a fucking Valium or nothing.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare.
They're like, that's kind of the point, is like, you don't do stuff anymore. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Whoa! What kind of nightmare are you guys talking about here? I just walked in.
Being sober.
Oh
Yeah.
God, I'll be back.
alcoholic insanity, dude. I was like this weird like combination between like Hunter Thompson and Howard Hughes, right? Like I was wearing gloves all the time. I had like Nike, I had like Nike batting gloves on all the time, and like sunglasses and like a ski cap, and like just
Yeah.
You sound like the type of person that would rob me.
You sound like me now.
It was such a mess, just like shaky and like couldn't.
Yeah.
Find headbands.
Like I thought I'd really hurt myself. Like I couldn't. It took me like a good like 2 weeks before I was able to like really be able to put like thoughts in order. You know what I mean? Like other people were like, "No, you're fine. But like in my head, I knew it wasn't. I was worried that I had really like hurt myself at that point. Like I wasn't going to get better. So
done irreparable damage.
Yeah. I showed up. Like I was lucky enough to go to a medical detox for like the last time I went to detox. It was a medical detox, but it was a Catholic hospital, which a lot of the hospitals out here are. So like I show up and I'm like vaguely fucking still a little bit wasted. I show up in my Bad Religion t-shirt, like walk into fucking Catholic detox. I'm just like, it took me all of 5 minutes to realize exactly how much of a shitheel I was in that like moment.
yeah.
I don't miss that every time. Jesus Christ, what's going on with my phone? Every single time, like I'm just like, oh shit, you know, a beer sounds good. I'm just like, yeah, and that doesn't. So thankfully, so far, it's fucking fingers crossed, knock on wood or whatever. But yeah, just horrifying shit.
No, the further you get away from your last drink, the closer you get to your next one. If you start forgetting what it was like.
Yeah, right. And like there's something to be said for like part of the process, I guess, is learning to like deal with the amount of shame, but you don't ever want to let go of that shame. You want to know exactly what it felt like to be at that point in your life and do whatever it takes to not be back there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You guys just reminded me I forgot to make a drink for this show.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah.
But it makes me like at that point I'm like, is it bad that reminded me?
No.
Is it bad that I'm going, you guys are a bunch of quitters?
No, I mean, it's, you know what, you decide where, everybody has to decide where, and some people aren't wired for that. Like my wife isn't. Like she can sit down and she'll like sit down and open a drink and like not finish it. Like she'll open a cider and like not finish it, and I'm just like what the fuck is wrong with
seriously? It's goddamn insanity. Like
I feel bad if I don't finish it because
finished beers around, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you not drink that?
Every time I leave a half full drink, I go, there are poor people in Detroit that can't afford to have this drink.
What about the people that say leftover medication?
What about they can still afford it?
Like it actually like offends me on some like cellular level, and then I'm like, oh shit, there's a reason I don't drink anymore.
Yeah, because I'm not a normal person. You know what I mean?
What about people that like take their medication right, dude? Have you ever heard of that? And like Friction said the other day, I got a bottle of leftover Percocet. Never even. What does that even mean? Like, come on.
And I've been fortunate. Like I've said before, like I've had to have like dental surgery, and I've gotten hurt like a couple times, like, you know, good enough that I had to go to the doctor and everything. But I've been fortunate enough to not be, and I've always been open with my medical professionals that I do, my doctors, my dentists, and everything about, you know, me being in recovery and everything. And so far, I haven't been prescribed any of that. But like if I did, like I don't. I'm almost 12 years sober, and I still don't know that I would be comfortable just like holding a prescription, like holding a prescription of Percocets. I think I would still have to give those to somebody and have them give them to me as prescribed.
Yeah, I just like that's the entire thing. Like people ask questions like that, and it's like, yeah, I just like call me a coward or whatever, but like literally the benefit isn't worth the cost for me. Like if it ever comes to that, like it's going to be like fucking state secrets what's going on with that kind of shit, because I will figure out a way to abuse anything you give me. It's kind of my thing.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and like it's so like now, like I don't have an issue with my wife. Like my wife has, you know, there's like a box of wine in the cabinet, and there's some ciders and like I don't really have any desire for that. But like if you give me some opiates, that I'm supposed to take. You know what I mean? Because for me, it's
Yeah.
easy to be like, I don't need to open up a cider. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have desire to do that. But if like I'm supposed to take these Percocets, like I could probably go for a day taking them how I was supposed to. But I know it's good. I know how it feels, and I know I would want to take like a couple so I could get a better feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then even if you didn't end up doing it, you end up white knuckling your way through it. You just be pissed off the entire time that you're not getting fucked up.
And I've seen way too many people with like multiple years of sobriety get jackpotted with prescription medication, like by not taking the step of having some, you know, being accountable to somebody about that kind of stuff. So, because I've seen a whole lot of people pick up 5-year chips. I don't see a whole lot of people pick up 10 years. Just my personal experience.
Yeah, no, and like that's the thing that bothers me. Like it was 5 years in August for me or whatever, but like not once, and I'm not saying this like saying like I have it figured out, because obviously I deal with it every single day, but like the one thing I haven't gotten is particularly complacent about the fact that if you give me a way to get fucked up, I will probably get fucked up. Like that's just the way I fucking work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was a burning desire right there.
I mean, it's good to talk about it because I don't like my meeting attendance. Like life got busy, you know what I mean? When I first got sober, I didn't have shit going on, you know what I mean? And so for the first couple of years, I was like super heavy meeting attendance and like working with people and stuff. And as the longer you stay sober, the more stuff starts coming back into your life. So you have to make sure that you keep time, like you said, to keep that focused. You know what I mean? So like nowadays, I'm lucky if I get to one meeting like every 2 weeks.
I'm worried about what people that watch this show think about me. Cause like you guys do other shows. You guys do other shows with me, so you know that I don't like. I'm not a heavy drinker all the time. I just drink on Thursdays.
You're just a party boy. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm just a party boy. That's what. You know.
Hey,
I'm like every high school boy. You know?
My goal for like a large part of the end of my drinking was to be a functional alcoholic, but I couldn't even manage that. Like if I could have been a functional alcoholic and be able to shower and hold a job and all that stuff, I never would have quit drinking.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
like
they there's like no one sees anything wrong with like a functional alcoholic, you know. I think because a lot of people define addiction as like when it starts fucking with your life.
Well, no, that's what it is. I mean, that's always my people are like, you know, I do try to work with like newcomers, like people trying to get sober. I do try to, and they're like, well, how do I know? I used to, especially like when I.
That's the problem I have.
For like the first couple years after I got sober, because I was 26 when I got sober. So I got a lot of the young, like the 18, 19-year-olds would come and talk to me after I had a couple of years or whatever. And they're like, well, how do I know that I really have a problem? And it's the way that I was taught and the way that I see it is, if you do something and there's negative consequences to it, but you continue to do it anyways in spite of those consequences, then that means there's a problem.
What if there's not, though? You know what I mean? Like that's the problem I have, because I've been like there's no secret, you know what I mean? Like I've been a substance user forever, and there's not really any negative parts.
Then it's working for you. I mean, look at Hunter Thompson.
Yeah, he's a pussy. He should have done more. The way I see it.
I mean, there's the entire like assumption that people who stop drinking and like people who are like sober, like capital S sober, have like this very didactic view on like how other people should live their lives. And honestly, like if your life's working for you, that's great. Do what you got to do. If you got a problem,
I'm on drugs. I'm clearly lying to myself. I mean,
if you got a fucking problem with it, just be fucking honest, and there's resources and help out there and other people who have also had problems. Like no one is the first person to have a problem with anything.
I say that, like, I see people doing basically the same things I do. You know what I mean? I'm not like, you know, I fuck around, whatever. But, and their whole goddamn life falls apart, like, immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people have huge problems with, like, the same things that I do that I don't really. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Look at Keith Richards, dude. That guy's gonna live forever.
Yeah, I mean, I've known people that could recreationally. Yeah. I've known people that could recreationally do cocaine. Like I don't understand like how that works, but like
I'm one of those people because I don't like
they
it.
would be like, hey, I'm gonna go get like a couple grams for the weekend, and then they just do the couple grams and that's it. And I'm like, how the fuck does that work? Like,
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Or people that can like go and
Why
have
wouldn't you
like,
want to do more?
yeah, like,
What do you mean?
yeah,
You throw your whole life away yet?
you run until the wheels fall off. I used to like when I was on like some of my binges, I was like, I'm going until I wake up dead or in jail. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I rolled. But it just like other people, they can go and have like a good fucking, you know, get wrecked for like a weekend and then, you know, have a hangover or whatever and go to work on Monday and they don't drink again for like another week or two. Like I don't understand how that works.
I can't do that. I can't drink like I've never been a good drinker, good drunk, you know, like drinking ruins my life, like instantly. So I haven't drank in probably 10 years.
Well, see, I always thought I was a drug addict, so I switched to alcohol, and it turns out, no, I'm an alcoholic that likes to do drugs.
Well, I also eat 83 bags of Skittles a day. You know what I mean? Like I'm anything I like, I'm addicted to, and I want to do constantly. So,
right.
But
yeah, that's a terrifying thought.
So speaking of
80
terrible,
versions of Skittles.
No, I eat 80 bags. Ask Rick. He knows.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about, but now
Halloween candy and fried food.
Hey, I'll go like a month with eating like only watermelon.
What the fuck is wrong?
I'm just
with
imagining
you
like
as a
80
human?
Colts now, though.
I know, but I get on these little weird kicks like where I'll only eat certain things.
You're like my 2-year-old.
Yeah, I know. Fucking,
Like
but there's no side effects to my drug use, by the way.
I want to. Okay.
Like right now, it's just mac and cheese. Like mac and cheese is the only thing I'll eat. Like you'll only eat mac and cheese. Like
yeah, and I watch The Neverending Story 85 times a day.
I want to buy Graham. Like I unironically want to buy Graham PewDiePie's new merch. It's just a hat that just says, "Please be patient with me. I'm a 9-year-old."
Yeah. Well, not anymore. Wish. I'm super old now. As of today.
But speaking of terrible drinking habits, let's talk about Kavanaugh.
Oh, my daughter's so great.
So
I like beer.
You guys cover that. I'll be right back.
I want to preface this by saying this is not a statement on this particular situation, but it kind of goes with like the whole recovery thing we were just talking about. It's like, how far back are you allowed to pull from somebody's past? I think I kind of have an issue with like shit being pulled up from when somebody was in high school.
I get that. Yeah. Kind of. No, I agree.
It also depends on what the situation is.
It's one of the
like a rape or a murder. Like, yeah, obviously.
There's no statute.
It's totally one of those. Right? It's totally one of those. The severity of the crime. Like people are bringing up, like his friend was talking about, he's getting in bar fights. I don't fucking care about that.
Right, but because like I mean, like I said, like if you go back to who I was, and we talked about this, like when XXX Tentacion died, like a shitty person, maybe was turning a corner, you know, whatever. But it's like, if you went back to like who I was back then, you would definitely be able to find a bunch of terrible shit that I did, you know what I mean? Or bad, you know, ways that I treated people poorly, you know, never raped anybody, never killed anybody or whatever. But I mean, there's definitely stuff that if I had died then, people would be like, yeah, he wasn't a good person. You know what I mean? Just because the way that I was living my life at that, lie, steal, and cheat, you know, all the time. That was just the way to get by. Yeah. So, you know, so it's like, it does concern me a little bit because like the internet doesn't forget nowadays. So like my kid's growing up in a world where like anything that he does from, you know, forever, right, is always going to be available for anybody to reference back to. But even for the, you know, for the rest of us, like, can you move past? Are you ever going to be able to move past I guess it like you said, it depends on the severity of the situation and like the circumstances or whatever.
Well, I definitely totally and completely get that argument. I think a lot of the issue comes from just the way it was all handled. Like, and it's hard to like separate my political beliefs from this or whatever, but it sucks to have somebody go up there and instead of being like, hey, this is who I am, this is who I am now, this is who I was, it wasn't that. It was, let's fucking lie and obfuscate
Right.
however you say that word, the entire goddamn time while like rage crying at people. And I get that it would be more valuable to have some of those different perspectives when you're talking about like an august body like the Supreme Court, but I don't think it comes in the way of some guy lying about a sexual assault and being like Sir Chugs-a-Lot in college.
Right. No, I completely, and that's why I said this wasn't necessarily about this particular situation, just in general, because we're going to see this more and more with everybody that gets appointed or somebody that gets, I could see this happening to somebody that gets elevated to like CEO of a company.
No,
they're going to be raking through everybody's past from now on. So it's like, at what point? And like you said, I guess it has to be a situation by situation where you look at what the exact, bad, what happened.
Yeah, this was like, for me, it's the severity of what the supposed thing was or alleged thing was, but it's a lot of it's too. I mean, there's an element to play of like, what position are you going after? Like, if you're going after like a really strong position, there's going to be a higher level of scrutiny. If you're trying to move up in a managerial world, like I don't know, CEO,
look at Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Can we not?
I'm just, you know what I mean? But like, everybody knew he was crazy beforehand. Everybody knew, you know what I mean? So it's not like it's been a surprise to anybody.
Yeah,
well, they're not going for a conviction here. It's not a court trial. So the thing you have to come up with is how do you treat the situation? Because it's not a court trial. It's not, is he guilty or not? Because all the evidence
had to establish dominance against my wife.
Yeah, we already know though he's guilty of lying under oath. So why up there anyway? But hey,
but his character has already been proved questionable,
right?
And I think that's the issue.
I don't think that matters. Let's grab her by the pussy.
But unfortunately, in this current climate, to where it's so binary, it's
grab her by the pussy.
You don't need to have a trustworthy character to hold any sort of influence in this country anymore.
Well, he won't be the shittiest person ever on the Supreme Court.
Can Mitch McConnell have a heart attack already though?
He won't be the shittiest person on the Supreme Court in like maybe if you're looking at the last, I don't know, 50 years since Thurgood Marshall, he would probably be the shittiest person.
Yeah, but not the shittiest person ever.
But like, I mean, you can't call Taft that bad of a person because he got stuck in a bathtub. That's all I'm saying.
We had Andrew Jackson as a president.
I was going to say, is Trump worse than Andrew Jackson?
Basically, is Andrew Jackson, but not as much of like of an alpha.
Yeah, he's like Andrew Jackson, but he doesn't have the charisma to pull it off.
Yeah.
He's
like a self-conscious Andrew.
For that press conference, though, that like campaign nonsense where he was. I can't even. I can't.
If Trump wins the presidency again, I'm burning my fucking house down.
Oh, I'm gonna get up any friends I have in other countries.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna need somebody in a different country to marry me because there's no way I'm getting past anybody's immigration laws single.
But this comes back to the thing that I said before. Who is it? Are we to the point where it doesn't matter who the Democrats put up? Because I still don't see any strong.
There still isn't that any super strong any.
You know what I mean? There's not a Barack Obama type of figurehead to be able to rally behind for the Democrats. So is it everybody's just so unhappy?
I would even be okay with a stronger Republican candidate. That was the problem with this election. There wasn't a stronger candidate. Period.
But with the way everything's
I know they won't do that. Yeah, no.
People don't grasp how fucking scary this is. This is a lifetime appointment in a position that is arguably more powerful than the president of the United States.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
Who literally, like, that's the reason that the conservatives have been obsessed with packing the courts, is because these people literally interpret and make like law. I mean, they don't make it out of whole cloth like legislators, but they have the final word.
That's why this is really scary to me as a young person. This is a lifetime appointment. It's a conservative lifetime appointment, which makes it a conservative majority, which is part of the reason I'm moving.
and oh, sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but and not just kind of conservative either. Like that switches John Roberts over to being like the swing vote on the case.
Yeah, which is ludicrous.
Like
I don't think conservative Supreme Court majority is a good thing. I'm sorry, I just don't.
You have to give it to the conservatives because like fucking 20 years ago they saw this thing that America was getting less white, and so instead of focusing on actually like running their party like they give a shit about people, they focused on, and I mean maybe this is unfair because it has happened on the other side before, but they put a concentrated effort to gerrymandering the system and packing the judicial. Like that was their goal because the demographic trends are shifting away from their traditional power base. So they decided to hold clawing onto power however possible.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is that the backlash from this is also bad because it's the polar opposite, and nothing in any extreme is ever good.
Nope.
For instance, in California, they just passed a law that you have to have a certain amount of females on the board of any kind of company, which is dumb because it should be a fucking
should be merit.
You're good at this. Yeah, you're good at this. You've worked your whole life for this. We'll hire you.
I wish like there was a state that was like not so far up their ass. Like, because California, because like you said, California, they do some stupid shit, but they're also the only country that can fund their own like
state.
Yeah, anti-governmental state where they don't deal with net neutrality.
Yeah.
Or they have net neutrality. Like it just, I don't know.
The thing that scares me the most is the whole tariff war. That terrifies the shit out of me.
And I mean,
it's like I'm getting to that point where like I'm at that age where it's like, cool, I don't have a child yet. This is where I need to make bank, and it's like, thanks.
I mean, we just got our update from like our Aspire contact, like telling us how much the prices were like our wholesale costs were raising on like all the Aspire devices. And I mean, that's only like a very small part of this, entire tariff thing, but that's like a direct impact like already, because it's like, it's a fair amount. So we had to like sit down and figure out like, what are we going to change our pricing to, for like our reselling and all that stuff. So, I mean, this is happening across every industry because everybody gets stuff from China.
Everything in my field's like almost doubling in price.
Yeah, which is, how are you? And this is only the first part. Like it's supposed to go up more next year, even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, don't they manufacture graphics cards in Taiwan as well, Jerry?
Some of them, yeah. But most of them are still going up. But like just computer components in general. Phones, basically anything to do with tech is just gonna probably double in price.
Can we start talking about vaping again? Because
something every
company is depressing me.
Awesome.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is depressing, man. It is depressing, and it sucks because we all feel so fucking powerless as we watch this thing crumble around us.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and that was originally the point of America, was to give the power to the people so they could do something about it.
I don't think that was ever the point of America. It was that a bunch of rich white guys didn't want to pay their fucking taxes.
Pretty much.
How the fuck do I get an absentee ballot sent out?
I don't know. I just like, I'm going to stand on my soapbox for just a little bit longer, so I apologize. But like the reason they're pushing Kavanaugh through right now is specifically to spite women and to put them in their place. Like they have how many people on the Federalist list of judges that would have done exactly the same thing that this guy is going to do that they could have picked after this came up, and now they're doing it to spite women, basically to put women back in their place to own the libs. Like that's why we're still pushing a Kavanaugh nomination.
Do you think that's enough that the Republicans will lose some of their conservative female support?
I don't know. Like
apparently not.
52% of women still voted for 52% of white women still voted for Donald Trump. So I mean, theoretically, at least some of those people are gonna like see this and be like, hey, this is even more fucked up. Maybe that's where we draw the line, but I don't think it's going to be as much as you think it would.
Right. Well, this is a reason everybody needs to vote in the midterm elections.
Yep.
No, don't unmute it.
What the fuck? Graham, is that have you been doing fucking
Graham's got a voice changer.
Oh
Yeah.
man, Graham's hitting that helium hard. He's going out to a
Trying to hit
rave.
Kinda what?
Yep.
Oh no, it's the trafficking
Kinda
thing.
what?
Never
I have
mind.
Okay.
responsibility.
This is how I've just figured out like
Daddy.
GOP female voter is. What teen hasn't done this in response to Kavanaugh?
Rape, yeah. I mean, that's all my teen years were full of was, sexually assaulting people.
Somebody isolate that.
Like, God, like I like, how fucking insane do you have to be to actually believe that?
You know what they called me?
Boys will be boys.
The
Actually,
strangler.
Like, I get that, but that, like, I hate to break it to people that know, not like very few 18-year-old boys go around raping people. And it is an issue, but it's not like the fucking pastime we all do.
See, the trick was when you go to a house party and you see everybody getting drunk, what you do is you just sort of slink back and blend in with the brooms, and you wait.
Yeah, but what does it say about our president that he's belittling someone for coming forward about something? and
I don't
being
even
outraged?
want to talk about that press conference.
It's insane. It's insane.
I don't have words for it. Like I've tried to.
The worst part is that his words and that thought will be supported by the people that support him. It doesn't matter that he said that and like that they might not have thought that before. Him saying that makes them support that entire ideology where
Even worse than that is the fact that there are Republicans trying to cock block the FBI and stop them from doing their job, which is ludicrous to me. If you're a government official, you should be all for the truth coming out and people having morals. It's important in a grand office like that. It's very important.
Tell me if you have a good thought. See what's wrong.
Yeah, I was watching a video that was like a breakdown, teardown of like those PragerU commercials that are on YouTube all the time. Like somebody going through like point by point, like breaking the whole thing down, and like the whole point of like the PragerU stuff, because that's like a conservative, like kind of right wing dealy, and like if you go through the videos, like from the main one from like Prager himself, like breaking down like what everything's all about. It's like good moral values are like the cornerstone of everything. But then this is like in complete contrast, like everything that's happened over the last couple of years on the Republican side has been like in direct contrast to like good moral values, but they're like okay with it. So it doesn't like the hypocrisy
in power. That's all they care about is they want to retain their office.
Exactly.
And the best way for them to do that is to basically wage war in a two-party system.
Do you think like when Mitch McConnell goes home at night, like he's okay with who he is as a person? Or do you think
he has to be at this point, yeah.
Or do you think he's still like, man, I can't believe I'm doing this? Like
he's been doing it for 20 years. He's
like an old doctor. You know what I mean? He's so numb to it at this point, he doesn't give a shit.
Okay, like this is going to be a super, super spicy opinion, but I think that one of the primary determinations of like how conservative somebody is how much self-reflection they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Wait, do you mean looking in the mirror and saying, damn, you're the best there's ever been? Like that type of self-reflection or like inner self-reflection?
Like inner self-reflection, like talking about your motives and like actually thinking about the impact that you have on the world around you. I think that's a pretty good predictor of whether or not you're going to be cool with this kind of shit.
See, because those have a negative correlation.
What do you mean?
The sitting in front of the mirror saying, damn, you're awesome, and the inner self-reflection.
Yeah, no, I meant reflection. Like if you take everything as yes, like if basically what I'm doing is I'm slandering an entire group of people by claiming that conservatism leads more to an unexamined life.
I mean, but it really does, and that's why like that saying is that travel is the opposite of bigotry, or like the
Racism can't survive.
Racism can't survive travel.
It's something like that. It's a Mark Twain. I'm gonna find it because it's actually a really good quote.
But like, when you're forced to leave your small world, you're forced to reevaluate the views that you grew up in. And like it forces you to self-reflect as you move about the world, instead of just sitting in the same place where you've been for 35, 40 years.
Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. It's a good quote. He was pithy. He was a pithy man.
Yup.
But yeah, absolutely.
So like, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, like you can't put too much stock in trade and like the labels that parties or like groups give themselves, because really it's just nomenclature. But like at its core, I feel like conservatism is more, it's kind of regressive in a way. Really, it's the opposite of progressive. Conservatism is trying to return to something, as opposed to like actually learning from what happened and adjusting the way that you're actually going. It's the idea that things used to be better, and so we should keep things the way they are.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, this is nice. There's an Ask Reddit thread. Jesus is back from the dead and the Democratic presidential nominee. What are some tweets that Trump directed at him during the campaign? I like gods that don't get crucified.
Well, that's the entire, like the Jesus of the Bible has very little in common with the American Protestant prosperity gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And also still has nothing to do with government.
Although
unless you're getting elected.
Both Donald Trump and Jesus liked hanging out with whores. So,
hey, you know what? They
might zing. This guy.
Different reasons.
Hey, he's given Stormy Daniels a job. I saw her on a porn ad the other day. Bringing jobs back to America.
He made her relevant again. Like, because Stormy. Okay. So, good on her for fucking exposing him, but it was all like, her career was over. Once a porn star hits like 26, there's no reason for them to be a porn star anymore.
Unless you're Lisa Ann.
Yeah, or getting into that granny shit, which, I mean, I ain't gonna knock it, but it ain't
32-year-old grannies.
Yeah, the MILF stuff where she has like a 18-year-old daughter and she's like 29. I'm like, seems about right for your career path.
They just put some glasses on her.
Nothing wrong with that.
Can we go back to vaping now?
Rachel Starr's dancing in Philadelphia sometime soon.
Who the fuck is Rachel Starr?
Take the wife out for date night.
I'm just saying, man. For a horse, she has an incredible ass.
Which horse?
Rachel Starr. That's my girl. Did I just admit this on it?
No.
Hey, why not? This is what happens.
Nothing has happened. We're good.
Rachel
Whatever.
Starr.
Everybody has their favorite.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Hey, you know what? I just told her. I said I am loving every second of how uncomfortable you guys are. Get your daughter
out of here.
You think my daughter hasn't heard a million times worse than this? Come on. This is my daughter.
This is horrific.
Oh my God.
She's my daughter, dude.
Graham.
Every week.
Every day. I mean, every week we have to take it to a different level. This is
no. Show's done. We're done. We're not doing it anymore ever again.
Listen.
Fuck.
She's not really listening to it. I'm telling her what to type on the thing.
I fucking believe that.
I'm typing all the slime stuff.
What? What are you do? Graham, what the fuck are you doing?
I love how uncomfortable you are, dude. I saw your face and I said, "Oh shit, we got to keep doing this." I'm getting ready to leave. So.
Okay, that's might be for the best at this point.
I hope
Yes,
no one ever
watches every week. I found out.
I really don't want to contribute to the delinquency of a minor, and also maybe don't watch this.
I mean, No, because
No,
at
we
least
need
she's
we need
getting
those subs.
educated
Tell
on the
your
political
friends.
spectrum.
Yeah. Hey, she's 11 years old. That's prime right there for YouTube subs. They,
There we
like
go,
that
yeah.
that DCTC or whatever that show is, that lady that opens up Disney packages.
Oh my God.
There's like, she has like 1 billion subscribers. Like, no bullshit. She's got like and all she does is because these kids, they watch the same shit over and over and over again. That's the kind of stuff we need.
Well, I mean, like I don't really understand people watching like streams of other people playing games like on a regular basis.
Right.
Like Twitch is huge, but like how many people can you watch play Fortnite or Overwatch?
Oh my God.
It
It's
depends
weird,
how
right?
entertaining they are.
Fortnite.
Like,
But yes, but it seems I would rather play a game than sit and watch somebody else play
like
a game.
I watch
They're
Rooster
super
Teeth's
good.
Achievement Hunter.
Part of it's
their Let's
entertainment.
Plays, because like they're like 6 entertaining people that just play, and you like games that I won't buy.
Yeah.
Like fucking Ghost Recon or like random indie games, shit like that. Or like they buy all the shit on Grand Theft Auto, which I'm sure they've spent probably about $4,000 on that game each. But they buy all that shit, and it's cool to watch that because I'm not gonna spend 50 real people dollars for a single car on Grand Theft Auto.
Part of it's that part, like a lot of it's the entertainment of things like that, but then also a lot of people that I watch, I mean, it's if they're playing the same game than me, there's a chance they're a fuck ton better than me.
Mhm.
And it's mostly just like, oh, okay, I could do this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've watched some to like learn how to play things or like learn how stuff works or whatever.
That's
but like
another thing.
but people, but it seems like a lot of people just like watch all the time.
I
I
play
don't know, like,
a
because
lot.
like I see like the Twitch viewership, I see like the streams and like current viewers and stuff, and I'm like, that's a lot of people watching on a regular basis.
I play a lot of Minecraft mod packs, and a lot of them are super different from the other ones, so it's really hard to like figure shit out, and watching the Let's Plays definitely help.
Okay.
Watching somebody else actually like do it, because you can like look up instructions to do something, but it's the reason why those fucking how-to videos on YouTube are so big, is because it's so much easier to watch someone actually do it, and you're like, oh, you fucking twist it this way.
Right. Well, I mean, because I mean, I use YouTube as a resource for plenty of other stuff in my life, like how to build something or how to fix my computer, or
it's the same thing, just with like video games essentially. So it takes a little bit longer because you have to play through it, but
right, that makes a lot more sense.
There's a lot of that, and then the rest is, I mean, the entertainment. I mean, it's the same thing as people watching this, just instead of our faces, there's a video game behind it.
Yeah, that's essentially our golf streams, is we just sit and bullshit like we did last week. We just sit and bullshit while we play a putt-putt game, and it gives them, they watch the putt-putt game, so there's a little bit of added entertainment value there.
It's like a lot of them aren't even, you're not really even paying attention to the game. You're just you're listening to stupid commentary that makes you chuckle.
Yeah, watch our chat
underneath it.
Our chat's the perfect example. They're having a conversation that is completely different from everything that we've been saying, but they just, I don't know, they just
the chat is entertaining.
Yeah. So it's weird.
Well, thank you for explaining the internet to this old man here.
And esports are a whole different beast. Like esports
are
fun to watch.
They're big.
Speaking of League of Legends Worlds is going on, and
I'm sorry,
a Japanese team qualified for Worlds, which is incredible because prior to this, the Japanese have been fucking garbage.
It's okay. They're still gonna lose to Korea.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, doesn't Korea win everything?
Everything.
All right.
I think Rocket League EU is better.
CS:GO, they suck, so we're good.
Yeah, CS:GO EU wins most of the time. It used to be NA, but now it's EU.
I mean, it used to be in like CS 1.6 in like 2004, but it's been all EU.
If the game requires a ton of like macro and micro management in the game, the Koreans are fucking. You can't compete with that. But if it's something like Rocket League, where it's pretty much an analog of an actual sport, or CS:GO, where there's just more of that team dynamic and, I guess, strategy and not so much micromanagement. You don't have to manage a lot of shit, just shoot what you see. It seems like the NA and EU scenes do better.
They also have God tier.
You guys can clear. You guys, she's gone. That was hilarious, by the way. All your faces were like,
Dude, well, because we hear a fucking child come on your
not a child.
mic.
Talking about porn.
You've got your slam piece passed out in the fucking background. Just gonk,
like
just fucking
Hank
gored it out on fucking whippets.
Oh, that's hilarious, dude. That's
Graham, I'm gonna pray for you.
Thoughts and prayers.
That's what got him to this place. People praying for him.
Yeah, you need to let me just hit rock bottom.
Okay, thoughts and prayers. I like that.
Hey, she's over here. I mean, what am I gonna do?
Speaking of prayer, have you guys heard about Mike Pence just like throwing random Bible quizzes at Donald Trump?
Dude,
and
that's
he just
a fucking satire article. That was a satire article, but it was funny as shit. I don't think he's ever actually read the Bible.
You know that was bullshit, right?
Yeah. Corinthians, 2 Corinthians. Like everybody's like, what the fuck is 2 Corinthians?
That's
before he got elected.
2 Corinthians walk into a bar.
Yeah, I know that was like the whole. Like what the fuck? Yeah, I don't.
He
think
hears 2 Corinthians and he goes, "What's the punchline?"
Hey,
he said that's a pretty good one. Now a Jew, a nun, and a black guy walk into a bar.
The one silver lining on this whole like Republican Party Trump thing is I think it sort of highlights some of the hypocrisy that's been at work in that movement for a long time, because you have Trump who literally, I don't think you could get further from a religious dude. Like this is a guy that has absolutely nothing in common with anything commonly accepted as Christianity. You have them completely ignoring the entire concept of balanced budgets, character issues with the whole Kavanaugh thing. It just brings into really sharp relief that really these people were just saying this shit to get people on board, and when it comes down to it, they don't really care.
Yeah,
That's what politics is.
Yeah,
definition.
Whatever the
exactly.
Welcome to the world.
See, I think that's unnecessarily cynical about the way that politics have to be. I think that you can actually do things you believe in while still being a realist.
I say a lot of shit I don't mean to get what I want. Like, when I showed up at Wayne's wedding, I was like, dude, I'm really happy to be here. So it was,
What did you want?
to not be there. No. I'm joking.
What was the goal that you accomplished with that?
Free alcohol. Actually, it wasn't free. I spent about $1,500 on that fucking trip.
I was gonna say you had to fly.
It was a pretty expensive trip, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But you drank it all back, so it's okay.
Yeah, I sure shit bankrupted him, and he was like, dude, I should have given you all of the alcohol that we.
Yeah,
that
and
wasn't open.
Colton's wife didn't just wear something she already had.
No, she did. My wife is super frugal. Like, she's the frugal one. We both grew up poor, and I went, now I got money. Fuck it. I don't need to act poor. And she was like, well, I want to keep money, so let's tone that down. Dude, she coupons hard as fuck, and
no, she's not an extreme couponer.
No, but
Does she give you an allowance?
But like every time we're in checkout, she has those coupon apps, and she'll go,
oh no.
Let me take a picture of this barcode. So before I fucking scan it, because I don't go through the people scanning thing. Because in Georgia they have like baggers and people that take shit out to your car for you, and I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking tip you for doing your job, right? Like, you can't spit in my food. I'm not tipping you.
Okay, you're the guy that goes in the strip club, walks in the restroom, sees a dude at the door handing out towels, and you're like, no thanks.
No, that guy is a deglitterer. That guy's the most valuable guy.
That guy's a fucking champ.
That guy makes $200,000 in Vegas. It's he just sits there with one of those rollers.
There was a strip club in Florida that had like a particular time of the day where it was no glitter, no perfume, so that way like businessmen could go in like on their lunch or like right after work and not have to worry about it.
That's cool as fuck.
Yeah, a lot of the strip clubs actually show up on your credit card as a steakhouse now.
Well, they are steakhouses.
Makes sense.
But
So
no,
it's a meat market.
no. So
They
she
have
takes
great-
so before I scan the shit, I have to hand it to her. She fucking takes a picture of the barcode, and then I fucking scan it. So checking out at the grocery store is like a hour-long ordeal. Ugh.
Nice. I'm sure they love that.
Yeah.
She's gonna when she's 40, she's gonna have a really short haircut. Calling it now.
I just
Since-
don't.
She's gonna have the can I speak to the manager haircut?
Bro, I just
Yeah.
don't
Oh, yeah,
use
sure.
like any coupons when I'm with her out of spite. Like even if I have a fucking coupon that's like $10 off this $50 item, I said, I'll pay full price. I don't want to bother them with this piece of paper.
Yeah, see, your money goals are more in line with mine. Not so much your wife's. It's like, yeah, when I'm older, I want to have enough money to buy a really nice paintball gun and just go beat up little kids. with
There
paintball
you
guns.
go.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
that guy at 7-Eleven sweeping.
Pay to
For
win.
sure.
Like,
I'm gonna invest in
like-
one of the electric trigger ones. That's what
Yeah.
you're thinking.
like I'm in the military.
I had one of those.
I'm gonna
They're
have
fun.
my fucking GI Bill to give to my kid. Like I don't need to save up for their college fund. Fuck them. Let's have fun.
College won't even be a thing by then.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I'm almost 30. I can finally put a TV in the bathroom.
You should put it in the bathtub with
I actually
you.
want to put like a really nice TV in my bathroom, and then just like a really shitty TV in the living room, and just like have people come over to watch something and be like, "What the fuck is this?" and then just feed them laxatives till they have to go to the bathroom, and then they're like, "What the fuck? Why is there a 70-inch
Just-
in the bathroom?"
Whenever you have people over, just fill your sink with chips. Just have your soap tray full of salsa. Oh man.
That's what we're doing in Vegas. Bathroom party.
Bath salt party. All right,
Oh, we're gonna
man.
be so boring.
Bath salts are very hard to find.
That'd be biting off everybody's face.
No, dude, you just buy meth and cut out the middleman.
Yeah, okay.
Everyone going to Vegas is sober, so we're gonna be very mom and pop.
I'll have some beers.
I feel like everyone's gonna be
That's
watching
better.
over concrete like a hawk. Like, no, don't
just
relapse.
Have fun about it.
Oh, I'm gonna babysit the shit out of.
He's got a
concrete.
fucking crack pipe in his hand. No, concrete, no.
No,
I
my
need-
no.
When I have like a roll of
flavor
newspapers,
guns.
just
I can't just like
Wait,
have
no.
them strung out all the time.
Hold on. He said his girlfriend's coming. That's a calculated move. He said
Yes.
he said I can't do this without you.
Well, no, the entire thing is she's gonna start shotgunning Tall Boys of Steel Reserve and calling me a pussy while I watch her. It's gonna be good.
hell yeah, dude, I'm down.
That's how you get off.
Wait,
now.
I'll
yeah.
just-
Hold on.
Alcoholic.
Isn't
God.
isn't that called foreplay for you guys?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
that 211. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, honey.
That high,
I'm not
that
gonna
high,
shower
that
for
high
a week.
gravity.
He
Yeah.
And then you're gonna act like a checkout girl at the grocery store.
He comes in the room and she's wearing lingerie and he's like, "Oh, neg me hard as fuck."
Put the bugs on.
That's how it works. that's how it works in whatever his girlfriend's last name is, because we know he's not the head of the household.
obviously not. I wouldn't trust me to be the head of a household, dude. I would burn the entire place to the ground or sell it for a handful of assorted medication.
I'm just gonna
You look
Buy it.
interesting in a tuxedo though.
It's mostly just like estrogen pills and multivitamins,
Dude.
but I'd still take the chance and party.
You guys should absolutely like rent tuxedos for Vegas. Just show up in a fucking tuxedo and spend the whole day mixing in a tuxedo.
Dude,
Like
Lavoie
Step
hasn't given me
Brothers.
enough money to rent a tux.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that.
Jim already did that on an episode of The Office.
Yeah, true. And it did not turn out well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a real life newspaper if they still exist, so I can just roll it up to hit Concrete and Graham whenever either one of them reaches their hands out.
Jesus, like seriously, I'm gonna be sitting there with like everybody just bitterly drinking glasses of straight tonic water, trying to figure out the most graceful way for me to get out and get back to the Airbnb.
I have diarrhea. And then just run. Just run. Just full speed straight for the doors.
What do
And then-
you think's gonna happen at the Airbnb?
Not
probably really
not
boring
vape shit.
We're just gonna hang out.
Massive orgy.
Just read.
Yeah.
Do a little.
Well, we all know
Little
concrete.
relaxed.
We all know
Jazz.
Concrete's a cuck, so he's probably just gonna have you guys fuck his girlfriend.
It reminds me of that Eric Andre skit where he goes up at the Republican convention. He tells Alex Jones, "I want you to fuck my wife."
It's gonna be a disaster.
No, it's gonna be great.
I'm gonna tell Sean Casey I want him to fuck my wife. Her pussy smells like lemon.
God damn.
I did it at the perfect time. Sin would be right back. That's not offensive.
Nobody takes us seriously. I wonder why.
I'm fine with
Well,
that.
We're no.
You're not supposed to take life too seriously, Rick. It's not like you're getting out alive.
Yeah, I mean, some people are taking this very seriously, and they're still not going anywhere. So, have fun, man. Right?
Exactly, Graham. Thank you. Poignant. You're truthful.
Whatever, man.
Oh man.
I'm still trying to scrub all mentions of my real name from everything I'm involved with. It has
Oh, I wish I would have done that from the beginning.
Jesus, right?
It's very hard to find anything with my real name on it, though, because I have another fake name that I used for years. That's pretty much what you find if you look for me.
You mean an alias?
I have an alias to an alias.
Pepe Sylvia.
Nicholas Papa Giorgio.
My daughter asked me what my fake name was one day. And, nope.
You went. You
Don't
think
need her
you're
to
gonna
Google.
fucking get a hold of that?
I like that one. That's a good fake name.
Thank you. Thank you. It sounds like I play a lot of golf.
Mitch Pendleton.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
It's almost like he's a golf master.
Oh, let me just change this one for you. There we go. There's my golf name.
Colt Callahan.
Colt
I like
Callahan.
it. Yeah, you sound like
I
you
sound like
you did dubious things at Yale.
I sound like the bad guy from fucking Happy Gilmore.
Or like
No,
Revenge of the
not
Nerds.
really, because Colton's too much of a new age name. If it was like Callahan,
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
or even Clint Callahan.
Oh,
that's a good one.
I think we're limping along, boys. What are we gonna talk about?
Let's move on from dubious moral standing and rape to mixing. Yeah.
Okay, so I
No.
made a real mix.
I should work on one of those.
Did you?
We're all
really?
very proud of you.
Yeah, it's like the first one I've made since I got that bottle of salts from.
I'm very
Pretty
excited.
bad,
About
too.
Does it have Capella Silverline candied watermelon in it?
It does not. It does not. I gave up on that because where it's great as a standalone, if any other fruits, it does the watermelon thing. I was hoping it was different, but it does that watermelon
Oh,
thing.
it just melts in with everything else.
No, where it starts tasting just like shitty fruit mixed together.
You know what? It actually worked really well in Sang Petillon.
Oh, it's
Or
in
Sang
Sang
Petulant. Yeah.
It's in Sang Petulant? Okay.
Yeah. It made that much more palatable for me.
Wait, Cap Silverline's in Sang Petulant?
No, I added it to it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because Sang Petulant's a little bit strong on the chalky grape.
Yeah, let's see if we can add it to some kind of boozy flavor.
Okay, so Vape, let's talk about the FIBORA World Championship of Mixing. I am going to beat Dave. That's
Dude,
all I know.
That's fucking... You should have beat Dave the first World Championship that happened.
Hopefully with a set of jumper cables.
But
And then I beat him again on that 1-versus-1 mix-off where he one-starred my recipe because he's an adult. And it's gonna go for the three-peat.
Don't do it.
you should get in a fist fight with him.
I don't think that'd be fair.
Okay. I've never seen Dave in real life, but looking at his Facebook,
boy.
he looks like he's like 4'10". I don't know why. I feel like he's like 3
Foot 10.
no, fresh. 3 fresh 03s. Like he's fresh 09.
I feel like we'd be drastically underestimating Dave though, because Dave has like a crazy side, and I don't. So I feel like he could go into that mode at any given time and embarrass me. And honestly, I'm not much of a fighter either.
I
so.
definitely feel like Dave has slapped a bitch down.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm winging it. Like, I'm not preparing anything.
Nah.
Oh, dude. Then here.
I mean, I'll bring some
how
stuff
about this?
for personal use, but
How about this? You wing it. I make your one shot that you bring.
Corn.
That way I'm there in spirit. Because you could probably win the like. You have a chance to win. I don't know how your mixes are without you like on the spot, but I think for Shindo, you have a chance to win the on the spot mixing. I know you have a chance to win the concentrate mixing, but sacrifice one of those for me.
I'm just.
What do you want me to mix?
I gotta show up with a
dude,
belt.
I don't give a shit.
Dude, how about this Fruit Loops cheesecake that I've been doing?
I already made a better version.
Well, yeah,
Jerry
everybody
has a
has,
Fruit
but I've been waiting for mine to steep to get like a final verdict on it. I'm actually waiting.
Honestly, the only thing that matters is who's judging. If it's DIYers judging, like, we'll all be fine. But if it's people who vape like 100 watts, like Dave's fucked. I'm just calling that out.
No, I mean,
and that's why my Fruit Loops cheesecake will fucking kill it. If it's vape judging, dude, it's got cream, it's got Fruit Loops, and just throw in a shit ton of sweetener, bro. That's fucking gold right there.
I can beat you with 20% cap green apple hard candy and 3% sucralose.
That's a good point.
Oh, that sounds good. Can I steal that? I'm gonna sell that.
Pretty Matthews' new Nick Salt juice right there.
Dude, I do kind of love how it's really been kind of nice mixing like Nick Salt, because it's like honestly 3-4 flavors max. You know what I mean? And you get like a completely different experience with the way that it vapes too, from going and making like complex, like nuanced, layered things to just making these like nice, like bright, bold flavors. I don't know. It's been a lot of fun.
My favorite.
Totally do that in a mod though, like in a normal vape.
What?
Yeah, but then you just have a whole bunch of lost potential. Like,
oh, totally.
It's like something.
Yeah,
totally. But when I vape Nick Salts in pods, like, I don't even give a shit what it tastes like. I honestly just want to blast my face with some kind of feeling, so I just stick cooling in it.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. I was just gonna bring every type of WS.
Yeah.
My favorite thing that I've done in a pod system so far has literally been 15% cap green apple hard candy and 5% Fulvora sour apple.
And then here, go the Malaysian route and get all the vape bros and just add like 2% WS23 to it.
See, and then you double it up with another coolant, because I learned that trick from somebody, and yeah, there you go.
Maybe I'll do a root beer banana Rick, huh? And not turn it into a tobacco.
It was a better idea than your root beer banana bullshit you tried.
I mean,
just because I couldn't do it didn't mean it wasn't a better idea, motherfucker.
This is just Flavor West candy watermelon, Capella sweet watermelon, some sour, some sweetener, and some menthol and WS23, and it's like perfect pod vape.
Yeah, honestly, I'll probably just use something canned. Like, I don't know who's judging. That's the biggest issue, is you have to mix for the person.
Yeah. You gotta go for your audience.
Yeah.
I'll just bring 2 120s of my normal shit and just be like, okay, sure.
Well, and you know what though? That's one thing I've noticed in the regular e-liquid industry too, is since we've moved to this like the sub ohm and the higher wattages, like the vast majority, like everybody just uses a sub tank on a mod or they squonk. But it's like regular flavors has gotten simpler too, because a couple years ago there were tons of these like super complex tobaccos and bakery flavors with like all these different notes that you could buy at any vape shop that you went into.
Yep.
But now it seems like a lot of that stuff has dropped off. I mean, they're still around, they're still making it, but they don't have, like, I don't know when the last time I went to a shop and I saw like a full Telios run, because he made some really nice complicated flavors, but like I don't see those everywhere anymore.
Right.
You know
I go into my local vape shop
him,
and all they have is this fucking
like lemon twist. And
no,
shit.
this fucking Charlie Noble bullshit.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, I mean, everywhere I go, it's like tons of like Jam Monster and you know, stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's Jam Monster is actually like really good, but it just seems like
that's the big thing.
It just seems like the palette, like people have just kind of, I don't know, people have kind of stepped away from like more interesting, like complicated type of stuff.
Well, that's because despite maybe Telios nailing it, there were also 45 other companies that had the same long, agonizing descriptions that didn't nail it. And people eventually get sick of over-promising and under-delivering.
That's true. I mean, when you get Jam Monster, it tastes like what it says on the bottle.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. But it's just because I was thinking about it, because we have some new...
Don't you remember trying shit and you'd have to go through like 20 different flavors to find something that was even decent?
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the big reasons we started putting little flavor descriptions on our bottles. So that way when people picked it up, it's not like, what's Solar's point? It says it's banana cream tobacco. You know what I mean? So people would at least have like an idea about what they were getting into. But like, you know, we have you know, flavors releasing. Like we did the lemonades over the summer, and I mean, they're good. They're really good. I'm very happy with them, but they also are like, it's kind of basic. You know what I mean? It's just a really good like lemonade. Like I made a whole bunch of like interesting, complicated lemonades with like all kinds of different stuff, and it was like it didn't test well, you know, back when I was doing that. So we ended up like making simple, because that's what the customers want nowadays. The whole point of this was like mixing to your audience, and it just seems like the vast majority. This almost feels like, has anybody ever seen Mo Better Blues, the Spike Lee movie with
it's the
Mo
same
Better Butter.
It's the same thing with food. Like it's a trend. It's a return to simpler foods.
Because there's a scene in Mo Better Blues where Denzel and Wesley Snipes, they're jazz musicians and they're talking to each other, and like the Roots used it on one of the intros, and he's like, "You arrogant motherfuckers sitting here talking about people don't know what." No, you motherfuckers aren't playing the shit that people want to hear. You know what I mean? Because he's talking about how nobody wants to hear like the experimental jazz music and stuff he's trying to do, and he's like, "No, y'all motherfuckers aren't playing the music that people want to hear nowadays." And it's like, you know, I can make these like super complicated things, but like when it hits the market, if it doesn't sell, then, and like, it's a big investment to drop a new flavor line. You know what I mean? So, you know.
Yeah, it's also just like art, just like food. You got to separate the work from the love and passion and hobby part of it, because they're two different things.
Yep.
Like I love Rick's mixes. I don't know if they would sell well, but god damn it, they're like some of my favorite mixes. And it's because they're fucking interesting and complex and weird, and I don't
all the shit that we love.
Yeah, exactly. And while he can make simple shit, he's not doing that for the community. He's only doing that as a job, which is what you're supposed to do, because his hobby is shared with other like-minded individuals.
Right.
I just want to make pop music.
Like,
I just want to dance.
I'm not saying I'm not like, obviously whatever sells is what sells, and that's fine. It doesn't mean that it's the wrong answer, but it's also profoundly uninteresting in a lot of ways.
I think that's what I was running into, is just kind of like boredom with it, because it didn't have the challenge that I like as much. So I make interesting things. It's just, unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be what gets pushed to the market, because that's not what people are looking for. But I still make it because I love it, so we can nerd out about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
there's a really interesting and hard to hit middle ground too, where you can come out with something that's like really really interesting, but also touches like a certain nostalgia upon people. Like, for instance, that country clouds bullshit, where it's like cornbread pudding. Like, that's obviously a very a very interesting and kind of weird flavor. But at the same time, it's dappy enough and simple enough, for people to connect to.
Right. Well, and like I credit Telios with that, because he had Experiment 1 before. Like, I think that was one of like the first corns on the market, and it was
that was delicious.
Yeah, and it was like such a weird, like out of left field thing. Did anybody ever have Experiment 2, which is like mango? It's like mango. It's like mango salsa tortilla chips.
No, I never even saw that one. That's all I used was the milk.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Experiment 2. It's still in like he still makes it.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that brand.
I should holler at Eric. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
That's kind of where I'm hoping that, like, and this is just unbridled optimism, but that's where I'm kind of hoping that like one shots kind of swoop in for people who give a little bit more of a shit. Like, the margins are never going to be there. The businesses aren't going to be nearly as big.
Maybe when the FDA shuts vaping down.
Oh, dude, I have some
flavor bans.
Rick.
What's up?
This month, my best seller was corn pudding and mango sticky rice. It wasn't mint chip, even though mint chip's been getting the hype. It was
nice. These people have brain damage with the corn thing, but that's cool. It's good. It's good that it wasn't that fucking strawberry cookie thing, which I'm sure is a very good strawberry cookie. But
yeah, it is a very good strawberry cookie. Thank you.
But no, I hope that with the lower barriers to entry for like introducing new one shots and stuff, like that's where you'll see some of the really crazy complex, like show off kind of pieces, even if it doesn't make everybody as much money. Like, hopefully it has some kind of commercial home moving forward.
That's where it's going to be. That's for sure where it's going to be.
Dude, I got to send you some of that corn shit. It'll blow your mind, Pretty Matthew.
Okay.
It's so fucking different than anything out there.
Dude, I'm going to try some of that in Vegas because I still refuse to order FA corn.
All right, I'll bring some. I'll bring the concentrate and we can fuck with it.
I mean, unnamed corn concentrate.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna actually show it off to fucking Sean Casey. Why not?
Hey, legitimately send me some of the whatever flavor mix, like final mix stuff or whatever, and I'll send you some more stuff too.
Okay, cool.
I need something good to vape. I've been doing like weirdo tobaccos for the last like 3 weeks, so I need to switch something up.
I can promise you'll either love it or hate it. There's no in between.
That's good. I like stuff like that. I like, you know, like I said, I like weirdo, interesting things.
Yeah, I like anything that just like puts itself out there and it's like wholly itself. You know, it's not it's not halfway. You're not going light on it. This is what it is, and it's not afraid to be that. You know. Like Deer Lodge. I fucking love that vape. God damn it.
Hey, Fresh liked it, so I got the Fresh seal of approval. I'm cool with that.
It puts a smile on my face because when you put those flavors together and you smell those flavors, they don't complete that final product.
I don't know. I'm still happy for like being flavorish shilling. I really like how that recipe turned out.
Yeah. That's the best all flavor recipe I've ever tried.
Oh, thank you.
Only because I didn't use TPA, or only because I used TPA cherry in Black Forest.
Well, this is
there we
uncomfortable.
go.
Yeah, there we go.
We all just let it sit until Graham ends it.
Don't let that make anybody think that I'm a decent mixer, because I'm not. But every once in a while, something hits.
You have taste, and taste is the culmination of a lot of things, and you kind of either have it or you don't. So that's good.
That was a jazz snap right there.
It's all right. Pretty soon, California's gonna ban clapping because it's offensive to deaf people.
And then we'll have a whole bunch of internet videos about young white doofuses going around trying to trigger the deafs.
Yeah. And then so everyone's gonna have to jazz hands, and then they're gonna find out that, oh, that's offensive to blind people. Well, shit.
The jazz hands are applause for deaf people.
Yeah, but how do you think blind people feel?
Would they even know?
They usually feel with their fingers, the braille.
They would know.
They would know?
Mm-hmm.
Are they like all blind people are like Daredevil? They would be able to
echolocation.
Yeah, they got the fucking like bat gland at the back of their head in a cavernous space in there. It's an evolutionary adaptation, not a disability.
Did you see the Daredevil season 3 trailer? The real one, the final, the big one that just dropped today?
I couldn't even make it through season 2. Oh, I'm sorry. God.
I haven't watched any of the Marvel stuff on Netflix yet. I really
What
do.
is wrong with you?
Do yourself a favor and don't.
I watched like the first 3 episodes of Jessica Jones and I was kind of liking it, but then I like just completely lost the plot and haven't gotten back to it.
Dude, how did you not finish Daredevil season 2? That's the Predator, or that's the Punisher intro. That was good.
They're all so fucking preachy. I just want to die.
I don't know. I really liked. I really Daredevil's good. Punisher was good. I really like Jessica Jones a lot. Iron Fist season 1 was terrible. Season 2 was pretty good. I like Luke Cage a lot.
See, I was really excited for Punisher. I'm like, all right, they're finally taking the gloves off. It's not going to be like some good guy, some goody two shoes that's all about, saving lives and has a really tough time and sounds kind of whiny and then over the top choreography. I'm thinking Punisher, he's going to punch people, he's going to kill people, he's going to punish people, right? Yeah. But instead it's one giant PSA for PTSD the whole time.
Which is pretty much the only responsible way to do that, because that's the problem with the Punisher. The Punisher is an awful character who's been misappropriated by a whole bunch of fucking psychopaths.
Yeah. Now I will say they did the Punisher series. It wasn't so much that as the Daredevil intro was, but it was. I don't know. I've been pretty happy with the Marvel, the Netflix Marvel stuff. I've been pretty satisfied with it. For what it is.
I don't know, man. By the 3rd episode, I'm like, I get it. Being in the military was hard. It's not fun to watch.
Well, how about Venom? How about Venom being terrible?
I would just stare at Tom Hardy because he looks kind of retarded, but also super hot.
Yeah. So a guy you can get.
Well, no, I mean, he's still way out of my league, but Tom Hardy is like strangely attractive for a human being, and it kind of frustrates me because on paper he should not be.
He has that dark charisma.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be honest, I actually really want to see A Star Is Born with fucking Lady Gaga in it.
Dude, I liked the original Star Is Born with Chris Christopherson and Barbara Streisand. Yeah. Shout out to Streisand.
This is like the 4th remake or something, right? Or 3rd.
Because that was a remake of something too.
Yeah.
But it actually looks good, dude. I didn't know Bradley Cooper could pull off being a country artist.
Bradley Cooper can do anything. He's Rocket Raccoon, man.
That's true.
Yep.
He's like the best character in that movie.
Drax is pretty good.
That's true as well.
Yeah, Batista in there is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I never would have thought Batista would be the WWE star that would go on to actually be like a decent actor. He was fantastic. I mean, he only had a little short bit in the very beginning, but he was great in Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah,
he was.
Like, yeah, I want to see more. I want to see Batista in more things.
I liked Blade Runner. I was so glad that they didn't make it into like some campy kind of bullshit.
Oh, dude, Blade Runner 2049 goes into my top. It's definitely in my top 20. It may be in my top 10, but it's one of those movies I'm probably never going to watch again because it's long and it's like,
You have to wholly devote yourself to it.
Yeah, it's work. Like it's work. Like when we got finished, the wife and I sat down and watched it, and when we got finished watching it, both of us were like, "That was so good," but I'm exhausted now. But it's beautiful. It's it's shot so well. Just he did such. It gives me so much more hope for the because he's doing Dune. Like Dune is his next thing. He's working on Dune right now, so it gives me so much hope.
That's dope.
Yeah, that we're actually going to get like a good Dune visual representation now.
I liked the 80s version of Dune, but it wasn't good. It was just, this is a really interesting cluster.
I'm always thankful to it because it actually got me to read Dune.
Yeah, my issue with Dune is that because I love the source material so much that it's hard for me to separate it as being just a different interpretation of it with him, with David Lynch doing David Lynch things. You know what I mean? Because I have like an emotional attachment to the Dune series. But it can definitely be enjoyed in its own right. I just wish it wasn't Dune. I wish it would have been like its own thing instead of that. But yeah.
And I think I enjoy it more as like 80s sci-fi cheese, but I also like dumb shit like Zardos for the same reason, just because it's weird. It's weird stuff.
I mean, it's David Lynch, so I mean, it can't be terrible.
Pretty Matthew, did you hear that Brandon Sanderson is considering working with CD Projekt Red for a Mistborn series?
No.
The people that did The Witcher?
I know who that is, but I've actually never read any Brandon Sanderson because I don't fuck with fantasy stuff except for the First Law
fucking
series.
Loser. Fantasy's the best.
Mistborn's great.
First Law beats everything. Fight me.
How can you even make a statement like that when you haven't read?
Yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Exactly.
That's why I did it.
Fantasy nerds.
Yeah, I just can't, I've tried to do, I can't do Lord of the Rings. I don't know.
No one can do Lord of the Rings. It's actually a terrible book, but it invented a lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And the first 3 movies are great. The Fellowship,
Two Towers.
Two Towers and Return. So good.
I've actually never sat and watched. I've seen the first one. I saw the first one in the theater, and I've seen the other 2 on TV, most of them, but I've never sat down and watched.
The thing that Lord of the Rings is great for is that it set the channel for fantasy to follow and let a bunch of writers branch off of that.
Yeah, we wouldn't have Game of Thrones without Lord of the Rings.
and it created an extremely wide fantasy world, with the Silmarillion, Lord of the Rings.
No,
I don't get why you don't fuck with fantasy though if you fuck with sci-fi, because they're essentially the same thing. You're just replacing magic with technology.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's my whole issue. Because
that have rules that are based on logic.
Right, but that's how I was able to get into Game of Thrones, because when it first starts, there's not a whole lot of magic, and they work the magic back in kind of slowly or whatever. So I was like, okay. And by the time the magic really kicked in, I was already hooked. I was like, all right, we're good to go. And I'm not completely opposed to it, because like I said, I love the First Law series and all the ancillary books that came with it. I'm not completely opposed. It's just I have a really hard time trying to sit down with a fantasy book and try to get into it. For sci-fi, for some reason, it's a lot easier for me to do that, and I love sci-fi shit. So
even the campy stuff.
Yeah, I read a lot of that campy stuff growing up.
I feel guilty about it, but I like it.
I like the smutty sci-fi.
I like all the
fucking
sci-fi.
aliens.
Did it blow your mind finding out what a scumbag Orson Scott Card is in real life?
Dude, he's such a bad dude.
I knew that before I read. I'd learned that before I read Ender's Game for the first time, so it didn't bother me as much. I think if I had been a fan of his stuff first and then found out, I think it would have bothered me more.
I didn't find out until after I had already read Speaker for the Dead, and
that's such a good book. Yeah. And my only issue, he's one of those authors, he keeps going back to the well too many times, because there's There's the whole like Bean series, and then like he's doing like the prequels. He just like keeps going back to it. There's like another Bean book coming out like this year or next year.
I don't care at this point. I
know. It's just like, because like cause the problem too, like with the way our current entertainment culture is, like everything has to be a trilogy, or it can't just be one thing by itself and just leave it alone. Everybody always wants another one, and all the main like media conglomerates want to have a franchise property that they can just churn content out for the next 10 years, instead of just letting something be. Because there's been a bunch of books that I've read that are 2 and 3 parts, and it's like, this would have been a good just single, you could have done this as a single story and it would have been fine.
Well, the weird thing is like they only do that with like well-known authors, right? Because technically it's actually more beneficial to a publishing company to have a one-shot book,
right?
But it's just the authors who are really passionate about creating a world or something like that, that they want to have enough room to tell their story or to build upon it. So that's why they all write these fucking trilogies.
Mm-hmm.
And then you feel really shitty when you find out it's a trilogy after you read the first one and the second one's not out yet.
Right.
Oh god, that is the worst feeling.
That really is. When you're just like, oh my god, why do I have to wait to finish the story? That's why I was so glad that like Infinity War 1 and 2 were only a year apart instead of like a couple years apart.
Yeah.
That would have been, I don't know if I could have gone much longer.
You couldn't even handle it.
Okay, we just hit 2 hours, so let's fucking cut this shit off. Fuck it.
All right.
Was it 2 hours?
I'm ready for bed. Yeah, let's
see you guys later.
Killing it.
Guys,
over the next month while I'm gone, let's try and start at 8. We're trying to go to that stopgap time slot. Or Pretty Matthew, can you do 8?
That'll be like 8:15 at the latest. Y'all get going. I'll be here.
Let's try for 8:30.
I can do 8:30.
Let's try for 8:30.
Let's lock a
sounds good.
Just because a lot of us are tired of staying up so fucking late.
Yeah. All right.
West Coast kids.
Let me.
Yeah, I still got.
Let's go ahead.
Play us off.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. These guys will be back next week. I will be MIA for the next 5 or 6 weeks. But have a great night. What?
I hope they can clear that up. I think they'll be able to get rid of it. It's all right.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
What STD are you talking about?
Yeah.
When you gonna come on Stopgap?
All right.
The hell is that?
It's all right if you don't want to be honest with your audience. We'll miss you.
Graham, you have enough STDs for all of us.
Being honest with your audience, I think it's a bad idea. So I'm done.
Yeah, did you see the shirt?
Yes, I did.
Maybe that's a special kind of horrifying. I don't want to be branded as Graham's property in case somebody comes looking for some money to have. It gets sold into white slavery. Says the guy who was broadcasting live from human trafficking.